Good morning, fellow Ambazonians, wherever you may be across the globe. I receive revolutionary greetings from your humble servants, the spokesman of the Ambazonian Governing Council, Capo Daniel, your own countryman, Sense Past King. All of you are now welcome for this program. This program may be titled The Deconstruction of Professor Julius Victor Ngoh, one of Cameroon citizen we na a paper citizen for Ambazonia. We then do some research. Cameroon government then pay make it do some research for rewrite our history. This history it be published already and they sell them for ground zero and they go to teach them for Cameroon government schools. So day to day for broke down and deconstruct the lies where Cameroon they do them now like a campaign. But before we get to this program, I want to salute Luna for all, for Bakwa, for K-Town, for Boya, for Mutengene, for Lebialem, for Bafut and all corner them for Ambazonia. Una welcome for this Ambazonian communication network. Na me Capo Daniel una own countryman sesep aran come for talk for una. Today this presentation will be very important. It be based on our history as I go to talk for our pidgin standard English. But I going to put plenty in English for this so that make some audience them too they hear. This one will be very, very important for we to do this particular presentation. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you will know very well, this our struggle is start with the construction of our history, the challenging of the Cameroon narrative of our history by the civil society members, Harmony Bogba, Agbobala, when I remember the outing, the way they go for television, time and time again for debate for La Republique and for tell them the truth about our history and our identity and the legitimacy of our right of self-determination. They were scorned, but those moments on TV, it be get a very huge impact for the psychology of our people. It be enable our people for rise up as one man, for demand one thing, federation or outright independence. Now we then for independence, of course. Cameroon is try to deconstruct all those constructs of our history. Cameroon they try to unlearn our people then for ground zero. Always we would unlearn them about the facts and the truth of our history and our identity. I will play some video except them for the outing them. We paid agent, paper citizen of Ambazonia, Professor Julius Victor Ngoh. One of those come no good them, where them born them for inside Ambazonia, they claim say them be in Ambazonia, but then get relative for La Republique. Their origin is dinner for La Republique. Even though they for Ambazonia, they get double loyalty. Na francophones them, na tongue to people them. Dr. Julius Ndi, he don't be the person where the Cameroon government he don't hire he for do research, they don't give you unprecedented access for information and fires them for this purpose, for you to be able to lie. So despite the fact say he don't go for school, learn very well, he don't travel for check documents them, they use it for lie and I go present una the lies of Cameroon and I will give una the fact. But before I start, I go want to first play Wetty way it be a historian. Just in case you are listening to me and you are wondering, what authority can Capo Daniel, your own countryman, have to speak about this historical fact with authenticity and with authority? First of all, I am the spokesman of Ambazonian Governing Council, a prestigious organization with many heads that a lot of you have never seen. So I'm well advised. I've taken my time, I have studied, and I'm going to bring you substantiated fact, not just opinion about this subject matter. I'm going to bring you the truth to empower you with the knowledge of truth and to counter Cameroon propaganda that is currently going on CRTV, Equinox, and Vision Card, and even Afrique Media. This is a whole campaign from the Cameroon state. So we are going to play an excerpt first to give you a reason why I do this. And in Dr. Julius Victor Ngoh own word, you are going to learn why you should trust me and the information I'm going to give you. And trust me for this information. But first, let's play this video of Dr. Julius Ngoh. Due to time constraint, I'm not going to play all videos, but I'm going to play as much as time will allow me to. So, the first video is from Dr. Julius. How is it possible? Okay, it's from Dr. Julius Ngoh. And he talks about a historic, the basis to make fact, how truth can be established and who can speak authoritatively about history. Listen.
Please, some of you have already indicated that they need copies. Is there an electronic copy?
No, not yet. It is just 500 francs. Just 500 francs.
For the soft copy?
No, for the hard copy.
500 francs?
Yeah, just
okay.
For 500 francs. Go to press book, all
the press
shops,
books.
All
they have it.
shops.
How about this? How about Cameroon 1884 to present?
You will be surprised. It's just copies are found in all press book shops.
Okay, please.
So these books, these textbooks will be printed, sponsored by the Cameroon state. It be written by Professor Julius Ngoh. Victor is just a propaganda tool to keep us as colonized people. And you can hear from the price, 500. Who can produce a book in that Cameroon or in Ambazonia and sell them for 500? That is just indicative to tell you that he is somebody who is sponsored and represent the Cameroon state's version or narration of our history, which is made up of missing parts, which I'm going to fill the blanks, and outright manufactured lies about who we are and our history with Cameroon. So I'll play the video and then I will roll on.
Those of you who would not know.
Because history is a subject, history is science, history is a discipline. So you have to go through the various stages to qualify as a historian. And I must quickly add that there are historians and historians. It doesn't mean that because you have a BA in history or an MA in history or a PhD in history, automatically you are a historian.
So wait to wait the professor the talk. You know, even the devil the talk true before he use them for lie. Wait to wait the doctor the talk, the professor the talk and say, you don't necessarily need to be a professor for be a historian. You don't necessarily need to get a PhD degree, a first degree, or whatever for become a historian. So I go fit in this category of people the way they talk. I am also a historian based on what I'm about to do. And I want make una know very well, especially when I want to watch me for Ground Zero, because this information will be very important. A historian not the only person where then go to go get that big degree them. But when I hear from a professor, may tell una who be a historian. He explain and say, even though you go for school, you get other degree them. You still be where you not be a historian. Give this a reason for why you can be a historian and why you should take what I say very seriously.
A historian is somebody who, as much as possible, makes sure that his analysis, his conclusions are based on authentic evidence.
Okay.
So a historian na person way he analysis them be based on authentic evidence. Authentic evidence. So what I go present am for una, I go show una the basis for which we will talk of our history. It be based on authentic evidence. And I go show una say wait way Professor Julius Victor Ngoh it present them as history. Wait way the Cameroon state it present them for our people. Then through this man, this professor, it not be based on authentic historical fact. It be lack of information, it be incomplete, and some of them are just outright lies. I'll prove them for now during this program. May we continue.
On authentic evidence, historians have been debunking assertions by other historians.
And unfortunately also they become much more biased, and they refuse to accept the harsh realities. Because for a historian, you must be very, very careful, and you should ensure that your biases do not, I repeat, do not influence your analysis. And before you take a position, make sure that you have consulted all the available documents, both primary and secondary documents, as far as.
So wait till the talk now say, before you want to take a position, you first of all you need to make sure so you don't consult before you want to analyze. Make sure so you consult the documents that them be involved, and before you take a position on the subject matter on history, because sometimes you need for a historian need to decide on certain narrative. Before you take those conclusions, you get to make sure say you not be affected by your bias. And I will show now how the Cameroon, their bias and their intention for not only suppress Ambazonian history, but for lie about and be evidence, be challenged by real evidence according to the standard way Dr. Julius need the erase them. Me, I support Ambazonian freedom. I fight for Ambazonian self-determination. So I go make sure say make my bias, make the facts I support Ambazonia, affect what you are the presenter for now. Which are the one presenter for now a balanced fact, the truth about our history. And I just hate lies. And I will challenge, I will prove on the lies with Cameroon the Giam to Professor Julius Victor. So may we continue.
The subject is concerned.
Okay, now let's get started. The Fumban conference that took place, we have so many stories about it. Who is not telling the truth?
The bottom.
So I select this particular part because these are some truths that are coming from Cameroon State through this professor that are very crucial, that have vindicated what we have been saying. So I'll select some part and then I'll play it. It's about 4 minutes. So bear with me. Let us hit the chord in this one.
Line is this. The Fumban conference took place. But before it took place, there was the All Bamenda conference of June 1961. And the essential goal, the terms of reference of the All Bamenda Constitutional Conference was to prepare the Southern Cameroon's delegation for the Fumban Conference. Unfortunately, the draft federal constitution, which Amadou Ahidjo had given Foncha, with the intention of Foncha with the Southern Cameroon's and delegates to study the draft for a better preparation for the Fumban Conference. Unfortunately, the Southern Cameroon delegation did not examine the draft in Bamenda because Foncha did not present it. And so the Southern Cameroon...
So this one now one of the reasons why I support the statement made by the Commander-in-Chief of the ADF, Dr. Chuayaba, where he talks says Ngoh Foncha don't commit a crime where he's supposed to be arrested. Before they go for Fumban Conference, Foncha, he will receive the Constitution for La Republique, will be given to you by Amadou Ahidjo. Me present them for the Ambazonians, their House of Chiefs and their legislature and the various political parties. Sorry, my computer is being attempted to be hacked again. Ngoh Foncha did not present the Constitution to the House of Assembly or the conference in Bamenda. You cannot give a reason, but it is evidence. Why did he not present that document? There can be some reason. We can only speculate, but our speculation is based on facts or based on substantiated evidence. So the reason why we have always said that Foncha is a francophone and Foncha was biased. Foncha had struck a deal with La Republique. He wanted us to go to La Republique at all costs. He knows the mafia that was going on, but he was trying to get the best deal for us. So John Ngoh Foncha did not give that constitution to Ambazonia. Why? Because he did not want us to be well prepared. That document was supposed to enable our team who were going to Fumban to discuss the implementation of the United Nations resolution, to come up with a model, with a constitution on how to unite between Ambazonia and Cameroon. Fumban Conference was supposed to be the effectuation of the United Nations resolution, where they will come up with a new constitution. So South Ambazonian was preparing their own constitution and their own points on union. They state the part where we are going to cooperate with Cameroon, and they carry it to Fumban Conference. In Fumban Conference, Ahidjo presented them Cameroon's own proposition, constitution on how they want to be with us. That is what they presented to them. They asked for time to study that document, and they gave them 4 days. After that 4 days, they make comments about the constitution of Cameroon, and the Fumban Conference was adjourned. That is why they had the tripartite meetings, and since then they have been having meetings to come up with a constitution that will bring the two countries together. So Cameroon and La Republique have never united. The unity was supposed to be effectuated in Fumban, but nothing happened. So when I listen.
Went to Fumban not knowing what they were going to face in Fumban. They believed that what they had adopted in Bamenda would be what they will be presented in Fumban, and the Republic of Cameroon will also come with their draft, and the two delegations will examine the two drafts to produce the final draft constitution.
So you remember, listen very carefully. The two delegations were supposed to meet there. Cameroon will examine the constitutional proposal for the federal system from Ambazonia, and Ambazonia will examine the one from Cameroon. But what happened was that only Cameroon presented theirs, and the Ambazonia asked for time to study it, and the meeting was adjourned. What was supposed to happen never happened. Listen.
That was not done. It is very, very striking to understand that the draft constitution, which was presented in the Yaoundé tripartite talks, was deliberated and approved by the National Assembly of the Republic of Cameroon in August 1961. The Southern Cameroon's House of Assembly, the Southern Cameroon's House of Chiefs was never, I repeat, never given the opportunity to discuss, deliberate, much less adopt the draft constitution.
Yeah, but it means that this draft was brought by Ahidjo.
Of course,
and the draft was not sent to the other party to also look through.
It was never discussed, deliberated, or adopted in the Southern Cameroon's House of Assembly. And this is what most Cameroonians are afraid to recognize. It was never discussed in the Southern Cameroon's House of Assembly. It was never deliberated. It was never adopted in the Southern.
So this is clear for everybody to hear. This is somebody who have been paid by Cameroon. He cannot say something that will favor Ambazonia if it was not true. He's just saying the truth there. The Cameroon constitution that was presented in Fumban Conference was never submitted officially. After the comment and after the deliberation in Fumban, was never submitted officially to the Ambazonian House of Assembly and an Ambazonian House of Chief. It was presented only in Cameroon House of Assembly, where it was deliberated and adopted to become law over Ambazonia. For that particular constitution to be a law in Ambazonia, it was supposed to be deliberated and adopted by our own legislature. The absence of that is a classic interpretation of annexation and colonization. So Cameroon, whatever they did to force that constitution on us was not with our will or concern. Our parliament was illegally dissolved by Cameroon parliament. And what we have from this evidence, this testimony, shows that we had no union with Cameroon. Based on this information, when did we unite with Cameroon? When did the legislature, when did the resolution of the General Assembly become effective? It was supposed to become effective with the consummation, with an agreement between the two states, as it was stated within the various paragraphs of the United Nations General Assembly. So I will leave it there. The topic today is not about the union between Cameroon and La République, but he gave away that part there. The main part we are focused today is about the deconstruction of the lies and manipulation of the history that is being sold for 500 francs on ground zero. That history was written by Professor Victor Julius. I'll get another excerpt that will set the stage for me to explain it so that every viewer would understand the mafia that is going on. This other video is from a commentator in that same program who talk a little bit about it. This one is really a Cameroon citizen talking about both territories.
That is characterized by bad governance on both sides of the country. Cameroon Bank died, but how many banks died on this side, on the French-speaking side? Almost the same. Companies, people are acting like companies just died out in one side of Cameroon, didn't die on the other side. Mismanagement was everywhere, and the country was managed by all people. All I'm saying is this: is that we have to look at our. You can do secession in your head, or you can have it as a political aim. But the history of Cameroon was one history. It was not. There was never a war in the history of Cameroon, because you cannot even cut Cameroon, because at the boundaries everywhere you have the same people on both sides.
I'll take time to read this. This is
So this is the dangerous logic that they are trying to force on our people, to deconstruct the learning of our history and the truth about our history that was preached in the beginning of this liberation. The Cameroon government is on a campaign to deconstruct that history with lies. And you can hear this professor saying that Cameroon is one. That means Cameroon and Ambazonia is one territory. There was never a barrier between the two Cameroons. We were always one people. We complain about that our institutions were destroyed. It was as a result of joint management, and there were corrupt people on both sides. That is not the point. And what he's saying is just lie. I'm going to show you what he's saying is lie. I'm going to substantiate to you. He says that Ambazonia and Cameroon, there was no boundary. We were just one. The boundary that was there, the people on both sides were from the same language, speaking the same language. I want you to know that the people in the border between Cameroon and Congo, the vast majority of the Pygmies people are in Congo. But you will not say that there is no border, or Congo and Cameroon is one. Remember that the big chefferie, let me call it the way they call it, the big chefferie of the Bassa people is in Gabon. They also speak Bassa. There are more Bassa people in Gabon than in Cameroon. So should you go and now force Gabon to unite with Cameroon because people on both borders speak in the same language? No, that would be illegal. Talking about the border between Cameroon and Ambazonia, he says that there was never a strict border between Cameroon and Ambazonia. I want you to show you the map. This is a map. You see this map of Nigeria. That is the map of Nigeria this particular map was printed by the state of Nigeria in 1936. You can look at that map. In that map, Bamenda is in Nigeria. Buya is in Nigeria. As a matter of fact, Ambazonia was part of Nigeria for 41 years. 41 years, almost as equal the time we are with Cameroon. That is the amount of time we were also in Nigeria, as part of Nigeria. Of course, with a special status because we were a trusteeship territory. But that is where we are. Let me put this picture in a video form so that our people on ground zero will fit see where to they talk. This map one I see my country people them. Now map this for Ambazonia, where it be being a part for Nigeria. When I see the map, for this map, when I look for down that map, I go zoom and make una see am. When I go see say Bamenda, na either for the side for inside Nigeria. Na Bamenda that for down. Kumba. You see Kumba? Na Kumba that it dey inside Nigeria. Boya it dey for inside Nigeria. We be been a one part with Nigeria for long time. You go for update, you go see Bamenda. Bamenda was part of Nigeria. We even get parliamentarian the way they be for Nigeria. For 41 years, we be for Nigeria. For that 41 years, we no be the talk French. We no be even get no communication with the people on the Francophone side. Because all our parents, them, they be go study now inside Nigeria. Nigeria army, they be come for our territory with their Nigerian uniform. We be being a Nigerians. As a matter of identity, our passports, our travel document were all Nigeria. Of course, we were a part of the eastern state, but that was part of Nigeria, even though with a special status. And we were even named 2 provinces in Nigeria. So they talk where the Cameroon, the one try for lie with now. Say because say some people then get some village and be there for border, it means it will be being a one. Because Jongo Foncha be take help for UPC, it means it will be a one, will be done always be one. No. That talk for Cameroon start come now only when Jongo Foncha then start use Jongo Foncha for bring the palava K Cameroon issue, Cameroon inside our politics. Before I go take una for show una the proof and for substantiate history, make a play una the video for the Kenyan representative for the United Nations, his speech where he embodied the current law for African Union about borders and about the topic them way this man dan talk and make it not be not only me the talk. Make una also listen for this speech and it will clarify una for the topic the way they talk so that me these Cameroon people they no can begin the lie we una listen.
Kenya and almost every African country was birthed by the ending of empire. Our borders were not of our own drawing. They were drawn in the distant colonial metropoles of London, Paris, and Lisbon, with no regard for the ancient nations that they cleaved apart. Today, across the border of every single African country live our countrymen with whom we share deep historical, cultural, and linguistic bonds. At independence, had we chosen to pursue states on the basis of ethnic, racial, or religious homogeneity, we would still be waging bloody wars these many decades later. Instead, we agreed that we would settle for the borders that we inherited. But we would still pursue continental political, economic, and legal integration. Rather than form nations that looked ever backwards into history with a dangerous nostalgia, we chose to look forward to a greatness none of our many nations and peoples had ever known. We chose to follow the rules of the Organization of African Unity and the United Nations Charter, not because our borders satisfied us, but because we wanted something greater, forged in peace. We believe that all states formed from empires that have collapsed or retreated have many peoples in them yearning for integration with peoples in neighboring states. This is normal and understandable. After all, who does not want to be joined to their brethren and to make common purpose with them? However, Kenya rejects such a yearning from being pursued by force. We must complete our recovery from the embers of dead empires in a way that does not plunge us back into new forms of domination and oppression. We rejected irredentism and expansionism on any basis, including racial, ethnic, religious, or cultural factors. We reject it again today. Kenya and almost...
So, now the Kenyan delegation that they took the position of the African Union, the rejection of the pursuit or yearning of unity by the use of force coercion, or any other justification, including intertribal links, including the fact that we were from one imperial state or the collapse of one state. It is against the laws of the United Nations and the Charter of the United Nations. It is against the laws and agreement of the United African or the African Union. It is against their charter. Their charter clearly spells that the only way you can pursue unity between two states is by self-determination, which our people have expressed. And it is not something that is expendable, that after you express your self-determination, it disappears. England have exercised her state of her self-determination to join the European Union and withdraw from it. So Cameroon cannot justify the fact that they want to join with us because somehow we were part of the German Cameroon, or because we are interlinked with them by tribes, or we have a common history. All those justifications are illegal. The yearning of such union, even though it may exist, can never be justified to invade, to use force to bring Ambazonia to Cameroon. It cannot. It is illegal. It is wrong. It will only bring dominion and oppression, like the Speaker of the Kenyan government have spoken. He says that Africa have rejected expansionism, which is what Cameroon is trying to do, and that every African country must respect her border as it attained independence. Cameroon attained independence without Ambazonia. So, ladies and gentlemen, there have been all these lies that they say on CRTV, Equinox, and Vision Card, and Prime Media, that Ambazonia and Cameroon was one country before. So I will take the leave to present to you our history as it was before. Before all this thing came together, I want to show you how the world was. Sorry, pardon me, I have to look for the maps. Look like I didn't post those maps, African map. Oh, it's there, but I have to zoom, sorry. Okay. So this is what African map. Oops. This is the wrong one. Pardon me. This is a zoomed. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't have enough time to prepare for this presentation, but I'm going to bring the map here so that I can share with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, as you can see, before the coming of colonialism, I want to show you very clearly that Cameroon and Ambazonia was never one country and has never been one country. So before we were colonized, before colonialism started, this is how the map of Africa used to look like. Before this map, Africa had one of the longest states, including Ethiopia. It's older than England. Ethiopia used to be from it's 3 times older than England. I have mixed up my papers here. I may not be able to get all my facts, so but I'm going to give you as much as I can. So Africa has a very long history. This map, my country people, now say Africa be just before colonization, it be one start. So you be get the Egypt, you get Sahel, you get the Maghreb, and you get for around the Horn of Africa, and then come for East Africa. Most of these African countries, they not be really get any political structure. It be just be a group of autonomous villages or kingdoms without a political structure, where the rule it used to be made by consensus by adult male. So for the most part, then for this Mabo na Siam, where you no get no country, you no get no organized political structure. It begin at villages and small kingdoms where they no get political structure. But the one na Siam where they get map, Egypt, Ethiopia, you even get a Sokoto. Sokoto, it be been around North Cameroon. You get Sokoto, you get for down, you get Uganda, you get plenty of those empires where they be there for Africa. Those ones they be get state. A state na a country where it get a political system. No be just say you get a king or a chief. No, it get a political system where it be in place, it rule, it get a method of record keeping, it get a flag, it get a means of exchange. Then you go fit call and say state. Now either way, those one and they for map. So this one way for map, if you get a means of record keeping, if you get a means for exchange, and now if you get a political system. So this is how the African map used to be. So they used to have tradings, mainly slave trade. They bring slave from those areas and sell in those port cities and all those areas. And then you had a lot of people have arrived in the coast of Ambazonia. Let me bring in another map. I zoom the map in so that you can see. This is how they, let me put this other map. This is the zoom. This part with red is a current state between Ambazonia and Cameroon. So I draw it with red so that you can see. But long around 1814, this is how the map used to be. Cameroon, you see the side of Yaoundé, the eastern part of Cameroon. All those parts was not a country. They were just villages. Yaoundé did not exist. The small part that you see under the west, that will include the Bakwere land, part of Bangwa land, go up to Biafra, used to be a country. That country did not include Cameroon. You can look up part in Cameroon, you had Sokoto, and then you had Kanembunu in up those areas in Cameroon. So this down place in Cameroon used to have a country called, this is the country that was there. Let me take away this map so that you know. Orok Ocho Confederacy. This is it there. This is a country that used to exist in that small area. Out of Douala, the Douala area, you had Kingma, you have the kingdom of the Douala kingdoms and many other kingdoms down there. But they were not a state because they did not have a flag, they did not have a currency. But the country, the state that was there was called Orokochuk. This is their flag. They used to use shells for trading. And it was a confederacy of many, many tribes that are formed, including our people in Bakwere. People were also part of that country. And you had a lot of traders who come to the shore of Africa to do slave trade. Let me put the other map. A lot of traders who come to the shores of Africa to do slave trade. They sell trade and people will come down to certain port. About 1472, that was when you had Fernando Po first arrived at that shore. He's a Portuguese and who decided to name that particular port around River Wuri, that Rio de Camaros. That is where that name came from. That name did not apply to Bamenda. That name did not apply to Douala or to Yaoundé. So that particular place they call Rio de Camaros was just that small coastal area with where they had shields and fish and all those things there. They call it Rio de Camaros. Eventually, Afreseka also came there in Victoria. They started a school there. Many of these countries, many of these African countries were those trade places where people come and do trade. They sell, buy and sell to ships that come around those territory. I want me to understand our history very well so that me no can fool. It be just been a trading place. But something happened, I say, when slave trade was coming to an end, when the European countries who were doing slave trade were coming to an end, they realized that they need to enforce laws or agreement that they have made in African shores. And there was a problem that most of those shores did not have political system that reflects the laws that were being made by the European countries. So all of the European countries that used to deal with slave trade, they gathered in Germany in 1884, and they had what they call the Berlin Conference, where they decided that they have to set up political structure everywhere in the world, that they have to expand their kingdoms, their empires. You had the empires in Europe, the British Empire, the Belgian Empire, and the French Empire, and all those empires. It was an area of imperialism. They came up with a mechanism where people can declare, empires can declare other states as part of theirs. So that law, when they passed that law, that agreement, they set up that war system. That triggered what they call the Scramble for Africa. I know history might have tissue in a different way that they come there, it was Scramble for Africa, they were just looking for a place. No. That is the reason why they made those laws, and they came now and everybody was trying to say, okay, I will be the one to control this area. I pin my flag here. And for you to do that, they had set laws. You have to get people in that territory to agree with you. So the German Cameroon, I want you to hold that thought there. Now, let me come to the lies of Cameroon, the manufacture of the history that Cameroon want to sell, that people like Professor Victor Ngoh, Julius want to sell, because they don't think that our people have methodology to study and be able to recount history the way it is and the reasons why history took the shape it did. So this is the map that Cameroon want to sell to you. This is the map that the Cameroon government have manufactured to sell their history and their narrative. In this map, you can see it start from 1901. They show that was the map of Cameroon. Then it grows from 1911 to 1916. It grows. Then 1919, that was after the First World War, it become now just small. It become now Ambazonia and Cameroon. Then in the plebiscite 1st January 1960, it becomes now Cameroon. If you look at all that map, what do you see? They are projecting the map of the current Cameroon, how it evolved. This history is lie. It is based on lies, complete lies. In Cameroon history, they will mention that the German colonized Cameroon, or Rio de Camaros. It was not Cameroon, because Cameroon, they expand into Cameroon, or you call it Cameroon, they call it Cameroon. The German annexed the colonized Cameroon in 1884. That was just the same year of when they were having the Berlin Conference. The Berlin Conference took place for 2 years, 1884 and 1885. When they started making agreement, the German rushed and hoist their flag in Cameroon, Rio de Camaros. And that Cameroon they are talking about, if the Cameroon government was serious and honest, like Professor Victor Julius is talking about, they will show you that Cameroon was colonized by German, and they will show you the real map of Cameroon as it started. Cameroon history did not start in 1901. Cameroon map did not start in 1901. It started with the colonization of German. And I'm going to show you the picture, the map of Cameroon as it was colonized by German before I come back to this one. So this is the German Cameroon map. Sorry. This is the German Cameroon map. This is the German Cameroon map. This is the territory that the Germans hoisted their flag. This is the first map of German Cameroon. It did not include Bamenda. It did not include Yaoundé, Ngaoundéré, and all the other territory that you can see how it expanded. I'll put it in a colorful map so that you can see. This is a small area down there. It was made up of 12 different kingdoms that the Germans convinced their kings to sign a protectorate treaty that could justify them hoisting their flag. You have the King of Aqua, you have the King Bell, you have the King of Aqua. Where did I keep my notes? So you had the King of Aqua, you have King Bell, and I'm sorry guys, I don't have my note. I'll do it off head. but trust me, I think I have the facts in my mind. Yep. So you have the King Mangabel, and you have King Mangabel took over the King Bell of Aqua. So this is the German territory. This is German Cameroon, 1984. This is where they hoist their flag. These are the villages that came together. You also had Bakwere. The name of the 12 village, you have Batanga, you have the Sawa people, you have Bakwere, you have Bakosi, you have Isobu, that is the Bimbie. So these are the group of tribes. You have Iwudi, you have Basa, you have Bogo, Oroko, and Isua. So these are the 11 kingdoms that made German Cameroon. the German Cameroon started to expand by conquest, by war, fighting and conquering other territories and adding them by force to their country. And they expanded and expanded till what you have. When they were expanding, they came to Mankon and they fought. The Mankon people fought because they did not want the Germans. They came to Bafut. The people of Bafut fought them. You had the Bamoun tribes. You had the Bamoun tribes and some other tribes who were dealing with slaves. They were doing slave trade already with the coastal region. But they were not part of the German Cameroon. But when the German installed themselves in the shore, they start to go into the hinterland and conquering these territories. Some of them surrendered before they could fight them. And they came to seizing, taking labor, forced labor, taking them back to the coastal area to work in their plantation. Inside Ambazonia, they came to Bali, where they formed a coalition with the Fawn of Bali there, and the rest is history. So this is the map of Cameroon, and it expanded to this map. It expanded to this map. So from that small territory, it expanded. It expanded to this map. These maps are all inconveniently ignored or not found in the Cameroon history that is being preached by Professor Julius Ngoh, because they don't want you to see this map. It does not look like Cameroon map. And this map has a flag. As a matter of fact, I had a colorful one that the Germans had made. Let me take away this one. So this is the German Cameroon. And it has a flag. So this is a country that used to exist. It is not La République. The history of La République as a state, as an international entity, started in 1919 after the First World War. It's the same with the history of the Southern Cameroon. So the mafia that Cameroon government, the lies that the Cameroon government is trying to say is to portray this map that I've put up initially. I'm sorry, I'm having difficulties to find those maps. So this is a lie. When the Cameroon government, they put this map in 1901 and they show you that this is the German Cameroon. The one that is a lie, not the first one. You have 3 maps on top. You have the map of 1919. The map of 1919, they show you that Cameroon is attached with Ambazonia. That is a complete lie. And these diagrams are all found in the book of Professor Julius Ni. In 1919, let me show you the map, official map of Nigeria. This is the official map of Nigeria in 1919. You can see the official map of Nigeria in 1919. That the part that is being shown in the Cameroon map, in the Cameroon history book that is being printed by Professor Julius, is actually in Nigeria. And I have a video, I've made a video of the map so that I can zoom in. And let me show you. These are the facts. How can Professor Julius justify that 1919 Ambazonia is somehow attached to Cameroon? No, it wasn't attached to Cameroon. So you can see from this map that in 1919, Ambazonia was part of Nigeria, was attached to Nigeria, was not a part of Cameroon. So the Cameroon history being taught is not based on the type of evidence that Professor Julius Ni was saying, that for you to be a historian, you must not be biased. All your analysis and position must be based on verified facts. So how will he put a map that is not in the history book? Where did Professor Julius Ni get that his own map? That his own map is not, where did he get that map? In the United Nations? No. The United Nations or the League of Nations archive will put Ambazonia in 1919 together with Nigeria. And the whole construct of this lie about this Cameroon map is to show you that Cameroon and Ambazonia is one. that somehow the German, they come and in the history they say that the German Cameroon was defeated, and in the Treaty of Versailles, Cameroon was divided into two. They give one part to Britain and give one part to France so that they could govern them and then bring them back at the end. No, we had separate territory with Nigeria, with Cameroon. That territory, the German Cameroon, as I've put to you up the German Cameroon map, this German Cameroon was divided into 5, not into 2. And this is a picture. Sorry. Sorry guys, my computer is messing up. So the German Cameroon was not divided into 2. It was captured by 3 different armies. During First World War, you had the Germans, you had the British government and the French government and the Belgium. They will not want to talk about that fact. You had 3 countries that invaded the German Cameroon, not 2. Belgium, France, and England. But the Cameroon history want to focus on England and France so that they will give you the impression that the territory was divided into 2. As a matter of fact, the territory was divided into 5. Unfortunately, I cannot draw the map up from my computer. It is hidden somewhere. I may try to look for it, so that I'll make all our people then see. So this is the map. You can see that German Cameroon, it was divided into 5. Part of it was captured by the Belgium, another part was captured by England, another part was captured by France. France attached part of it with Central Africa and because of the tribes, and then controlled the middle part. It was never divided into 2. The notion of 2 is something that can be bind. They want you to have it in your mind that it can be bind. So it was divided into 5, not into 2. And I want to show you that it wasn't only divided, but the borders were demarcated. And with an international treaty called the Minor Simon Treaty. This is a treaty between the British government and the French government, demarcating the border between the 2 sides that were separated between the 2 states that had borders with each other. So these are the documents that demarcated that border. Is 2 separate countries. So the whole idea that those professors are saying that we were all one, or we were one, it was just they gave one to British to control, give one to France to control. No, they did not give anything to France. France captured their territory, British captured their territory. But because of the war order that was set in the United Nations, the whole notion of colonialism was banned. So they had to classify it as a trusteeship territory under the supervision of the United Nations. Not that the United Nations owned the land or took the land and was giving it to France and England to manage it. No. England and France possessed that land. They were just classified under this treaty for it to be governed until it attains her independence. So the story that Cameroon and Ambazonia were one, have ever been one, is a complete lie. And these are the list of countries that invaded the German Cameroon. Let me put up those documents so that you can take a look. I've put up the pictures. These are the forces that fought for that country. You had over 9,000 troops that fought for the country. And you had almost 900 British people who were killed. The Germans killed, out of the 9,000 troops that were assembled, the British brought troops from India and Nigeria to fight the German Cameroon. The French brought troops from, as you can see in that diagram, Equatorial Africa, and then you had the Belgians who brought troops from Congo. You can see the numbers of troops that they contributed. Amongst the 9,000 troops that went in to fight the German Cameroon, 5,000 of them were killed. 900 of them British people, over 600 of them were French people, and over, I think, 300 or something of them were Belgian people. So these were huge international incidents, not something that they want to just ignore it and just classify it, minimize it for the sake of their narrative. So you must know your history. When they come and they say that we were one, we were never one. We were part of one country called the German Cameroon. That country is not La République as the one that image to stick in the mind of people to portray it as though that German Cameroon was La République. No. The German Cameroon, as you have seen, was dissolved. It was destroyed. It was captured as spoils of war, and everybody take your own part. Cameroon, if you can talk say naive, this German Cameroon. That is not Cameroon flag. That is not Cameroon map. This is German Cameroon, German property. The sovereignty belongs to German. And when they were partitioning it according to those areas won by the countries, it was done so following the rules of war, that territories and sovereignty could be attained by war, by force, as it was the laws at that time. So, ladies and gentlemen, now the program that for today, for can tell now, say as Cameroon, it do this campaign for misinform our people, for lie them about their history, for deconstruct Ambazonian history and replace it with the lie of one Cameroon. You should know your history and you should preach it. Share this video and share the knowledge and challenge Professor Julius Ngoh to prove where he got the map where he shows that Cameroon and Ambazonia was part of one map. Where is his reference in 1919? Where is his reference? Cameroon and Ambazonia have never been one. Never. There is no map in the world, even till today in the United Nations, that put Cameroon and Ambazonia as one. The map presented to Paul Biya by the United Nations shows Cameroon and Nigeria, Cameroon and Ambazonia as two separate states. Even the Julius Victor have testified and bear witness that the Fumban Conference had no resolution. The Fumban Conference was a misconference that was adjourned because one side of that party did not have some documents that they needed to have. So they just adjourned the Fumban Conference where we were supposed to consummate and actually unite. Nothing happened. Cardinal Tumi have testified. Everybody have testified. So who is anybody coming to talk about Cameroon being united with Ambazonia? When? When did it happen? How did it happen? The United Nations spell out how it could happen. The African Union Charter have stated how territory could unite. None of those conditions had been fulfilled. So without any bias, I make my case and I lay my case. Ambazonian and Cameroon have no union. We are two separate countries. We have never been one country. Never. Never. Ambazonia started to exist as a state, as an international entity after the First World War. So do La République du Cameroon. Their history did not start with the German Cameroon. German Cameroon simply conquered territories. German Cameroon initially did not even include Bamenda. It did not even include Yaoundé, as I have shown you people. They want to avoid all those things that that contradicts their narrative. So Professor Julius Victor, Cameroon, your Cameroon history is missing the period between 1884 and 1901. And your history from 1916 to 1919 is fake. It has no basis. So my country people, we are on the right side of history. We are on the truth. And we cannot, knowing what we know, accept lies, and deception. We can't do that to ourselves. That would be insane. That would be another level of slavery. You cannot force people to accept a lie that there are evidence that it is a lie as true. You can't do that. And who is going to accept that? Who will accept what Dr. Julius Julius is saying? Unless you are intimidated by the Cameroon military and you are afraid of judicial persecution, you cannot accept what he is saying because it doesn't make sense. He says one or two truths here and there, and then lie, manufactured history and try to justify it. Now the new logic they are bringing is that there was corruption in so-called West Cameroon and there was corruption in La Republique. So somehow that justifies what they are saying. How do they justify saying that Cameroon, you cannot separate, secession is in the mind of people? Secession in itself is a legal thing. I'm not saying that we are actually trying to secede because we are not part of Cameroon. We are trying to exercise our right of self-determination to effectuate our independence that have been granted and that have been guaranteed by international law legally. We've come to the end of the program. God bless you. Ciao.